Hello, everybody. We are in Mastermind class today, and we are going to be teaching a couple different topics. We're going to talk about stress today, and we're also going to be talking about creative marketing. And some of you may have been on the call earlier, but there were some technical difficulties, so we're recording again. And the reason that we're talking about stress is there's so much going on in our world right now, and what we went through this week in Las Vegas, so many innocent people going through what they're going through, and lives will be changed forever. But not just in Las Vegas, guys. People in Texas and Florida and Puerto Rico and the Caribbean and different parts of the world that are going through things right now. I just thought that stress is happening in so many people's lives that it would be worthwhile talking about how to eliminate some of that stress and control what we can control. And then we're going to talk about creative marketing, which is a USP, unique selling proposition, that helps us all be better in our lives, and especially in our business. What makes us different and unique, and that is such an attractive different thing. So here we go. Stress. How do you eliminate it? How do you get it to go away? So the first thing I want to share with you is get rid of endless to-do lists and focus in on what's really important. The essential question is not how busy you are, but what are you busy at? Simplify things. You know, in sales, the only two income-producing activities are prospecting and presenting. So when you spend time there, more often than not, you get results, and that most likely will alleviate stress. Don't prioritize your schedule. Instead, schedule your priorities. Schedule your family time, your health, your fitness time, your friend time. So I talk often about the rocks, the pebbles, the sand, the water. So if you had a jar that was full with rocks and pebbles and big rocks and then smaller rocks and then sand and water, you'd want to have the big rocks in first, because if you put the water in first, you will not have any extra space to put the sand and the smaller rocks. So your big rocks are your family and your important parts of your business. And if you can get those done, like proper exercise, proper diet, proper weight, proper sleep, proper attitude, and work things like prospecting and meetings and development time, you're going to have a lot less stress. So make sure you do that. Next is needing and wanting less. Declutter. Simple things in life bring more joy than the complicated things. So what can you simplify in your life? What can you clean up? What can you have less of to actually be more fulfilled? Number 4 is take time regularly to vision the future. You know, focus is power is a huge deal. And you could take a magnifying glass, hold it up against the sun. You could burn a hole in a piece of paper. And so when I like to do Sunday nights and plan out my week. And the more planned my week is, it's actually less stress because I know what I want. People that are wandering generalities are often very stressed because they're very, very lost. And that feeling of lost is a lot of stress. So if you know what you want, you can re-engineer it and get what you want. 5 is leave your past behind you, because you can't take it back. So if you can learn from the past, but leave it behind you and just look forward to the future, you're way more successful and you're a lot less stressed. Next is constantly tell yourself you have a choice. Every day I'm saying, there's a stress right now about this. If there is, and there often isn't, but I do get stresses like everybody else. And I'm saying, I'm choosing to be stressed right now. What can I do? I can take a walk. I can walk outside. I can plan better. I can forget the past. I'm having a choice right now to be stressed. I can simplify right now. I can focus on what I can control. I know I have a choice that can alleviate some of my stress. I can take accountability. One of the best things you can do is say, I own it. I completely own it. And it's like when you own it and apologize, or own it and say, that's my responsibility, it's all of a sudden, it's bricks lifted off your shoulder. Don Wilder used to say, excuses are the nails used to build a house of failures. And I so believe in that. You attract what you put out there. So if you're a servant, if you're a giver, if you're a hard worker, you actually will attract beautiful things to you and you're going to not have challenges as much. So you're going to have less stress. I think that people that are living their lives so much in the do, have, be mentality, if I do, then I'll have everything that I want, and then I could be successful. That's stressful. What if instead you're be? I'm going to be right. I'm going to be servant. I'm going to be loving. I'm going to be unselfish and caring and giving. And if you be that, it will cause you to do the right things, and then you'll have anything you want. That's a lot less stress. There's something about being outside, and there were studies about the hospital rooms that faced outside and had light. People healed more quickly. So when you can get outside and have natural light, even if it's cold or warm every day, you're going to be less stressed than people that are inside all the time. So get outside a little bit every day, or more than you're doing now. That will alleviate stress. Confidence is sexy. I always talk about that, the sexy buffalo. And confidence comes from preparation. So calendaring preparation time and practice time and PDR time will alleviate stress, as well as having a purpose. And a purpose will give you the focus to know what you want to practice. So what is your purpose? What is it that you want to accomplish? What is it that you want to do? I did an interview today with a gal that knew exactly that she had a purpose to make a difference in people's lives. That was more important to her than making money. And we had a very clear focus and vision on that today, which is really kind of cool. And so it made it very clear which job would be the right job for her. Slow down to speed up is really kind of a cool thing. I love the quote that you'll go as fast as you need to and as slow as you have to. And taking time every day to study and slow down and think for a few minutes, and taking the time to rest and rejuvenate can alleviate stress. And then, of course, humor. Humor is a really big thing that can alleviate stress. Listening to a podcast on humor, going to a comedy show, watching a humorous movie, reading humor, watching late night talk shows. I love Lucy. Those are all humorous things that you can do. So there's just a few things to be funny and add humor to your life. Let's now dig into creative marketing. And how do we talk about this? It's a unique thing that salespeople should have in their arsenal. And remember, some of you in the class are digging into sales for the first time, new at sales. Some of you are very experienced. And I think we're all in sales, really. And if you are creative, it subtly shows that if you're willing to go the extra mile to get the business and be creative to market for the business, it subtly shows that you'll go the extra mile once you have the business. So it's like it makes you stand out and shine above the competition. It's your USP. It's your unique selling proposition. It's what makes you different. When you go the extra mile in your prospecting, it subtly suggests that you'll do the same once you have a client. So being creative is the answer. So mailing is one way. Dropping off pieces is another way. Voice messages is another way. Email is another way. And I'm going to hit on all of them today. And some of them I'm going to cover right off the slides here. Some I'm going to, you all have the handout in your inbox. I'm going to do some right off here. Some I'm not going to read word for word. You're going to have to watch the video, and you're going to be able to go back and put the two together. But most of it, I'm going to actually go side by side here and give my perspective on it, my personal experiences. And again, I want to remind all of you that in between the calls, you can reach out to me, 408-888-4848, and ask questions as you're putting some marketing pieces together yourself and adapting some of these scripts and ideas to your business. You also can email me because there's going to be some creativity that we're going to ask you to do and create your own things. My email is gmichels, M-I-C-H-E-L-S, at southwesternconsulting.com, and use these tools to create some cool stuff yourself. So here we go. If the prospect asks you to send something, make sure you ask them, will they read it? And then if you send it to them, write a little post-it on it and say, here's the information I promised I'd send, then you promised you'd read. And this is kind of a simple system to do. It's not real creative, but it's a good one. These are just some simple programs. It's a simple 4-step program. Have all your pieces ready to go at the beginning. They should be weekly, or if you want to speed things up, every few days. And you can, step 1, send a 1-page letter to your prospect describing your problems that your product solves. Remember, don't waste your time of sending things that you're not solving their problems. People buy because they see value in what you do. They like to see short testimonial letters and hearing what other people like about your product. It's better if someone else says your product is good than you say your product's good. They love seeing measurable results, not just fluff. People like to see nice collateral pieces describing your product or services. A business card is good. If you do not have a brochure, send a bullet point list of the benefits. People buy benefits, not features. Remember that. And step 3, you can send a handout again and let them know that you'll be calling to set an appointment, because it's best to have your voice and in person rather than just over an email. People love positive facts and figures, and especially if you have the analytical, the detective, the person that wants to know those facts, figures, key points, not just the fluff, and make sure that the ultimate goal is to have time with them. People very rarely buy off an email. They want phone time, in-person time, and lately with the Skype and with the Zoom and the Join Me, a webinar is better than a phone call. So they can see you live, and of course an in-person meeting is better. Then you can now do postcard campaigns to warm people up, and all of this is because we have competition, and you want to stand out and be better than what your competitors are doing. And there's the old concept of you can outrun a bear, but you don't necessarily have to outrun a bear, but and you probably can't, but I can outrun you, and that's what you need to do. You need to outrun the competition. So add these pieces to outrun your competition. So I'm going to share with you some ones that I've done over the years, that I've created. Every one of these I've used, and every one of these I've used with success. And I welcome you to use these same ones. And it takes some time to put them together. You can get a team of people working together and divide the cost. Some of you probably are more creative than I am. I've had my assistants help me. Some I've put together myself, and they all work. Pick the 1 or 2 or 3 that work best for you, and then run with it. This one's a really cool one that I use with realtors, and it was calling on FSBOs in the real estate market, for sale by owners. And I would call on FSBOs when I sold real estate for a short time, and I would call on their for sale by owners. And what would happen is when I would typically call on 100 for sale by owners, using the same script everybody else would use, I would get 7 appointments typically out of 100 that would want to see me, because all these other realtors were calling on them too. And they don't really want to talk to realtors because they're trying to save money and sell it themselves. But eventually in California, most 97% of people that list FSBO eventually list with a realtor, because they get hammered so much that they're going to get sued. They eventually list with the realtor. That's why everybody calls on them. All the realtors call on them. So I called on them too, and 7 people said, yes, I'll meet with you. And of the 7, typically 2 listed with us, 2 or 3. And then what happened was I started doing the tennis ball technique and got creative and dropped off a tennis ball on the person's porch and called the next day. Just want to bounce a few ideas off of you regarding making money for you on your home, more than you would make for selling it yourself, with our creative marketing ideas. And if we called the next day, if it was a woman, typically, no, not always, but most women answered the phone and said, oh, that's cute. Yes, come on by. And men said, oh, yeah, I remember you. And the numbers actually went up drastically. Over 50 people said, yeah, come on by. And we would typically get between 30 and 35 people that would let us come by, and we would close 20 to 30 properties. So the numbers went way up. There were times when we'd show up at their house and said, come on in, take a look at our home. We've already decided we want to work with you. We love your creativity. So creative marketing really does work. Here's another one. If you're trying to call on somebody that always says they're too busy to meet with you, you can deliver a box of instant oatmeal, instant coffee, instant pudding, instant mashed potatoes, instant hair dye, instant glue, Minute Maid orange juice. Attach a note that says, by using these products, possibly you'll find an extra few minutes in your crazy schedule to give me a call. I used this several years ago to get into a superintendent of schools that for years was doing fundraiser with an entire school district, and I never could get in the door. And I sent something like this, and I got in the door within one day. And they did business with me for a few years after that because of the creativity. Here's one that you can do. I just want to get my foot in the door. Now you could do a shoe, or you could even do a keychain of a shoe. So it doesn't have to be big like this. You could do not just a tennis ball, but if you have a person that you know that likes basketball, you could, I just want to bounce a few ideas with you with a basketball. You could do something like, please don't throw this away again with the brochure. You could, if you're calling into a warm weather area where there's a beach nearby, a lake, you could send a box with the beach ball, sand, and seashells and include a note that says, life's the beach, but building your business doesn't have to be. You can send a package of gourmet popcorn with a note that says, I'd just like pop by for a few minutes and show you what everybody's been really excited about. Here's one. Send a cubic zirconian ring with a small bracelet-sized jewelry box. And you can set a ring on top of a small piece of artificial turf with a note that should say, when you're looking for a diamond in the rough, our product is your answer. Or a pizza delivery box that says, you can buy these pizza delivery boxes and you can actually put your collateral pieces and place the information inside the box. And you could do stuff like this and put all your information in. The other cool thing you could do with this that's really cool is you could even here put get a local pizza company to you could actually give them to give you a pizza, or you could put a warm pizza in there. You could also, for a company that's confused or people that are confused, you could send marbles or rubber bands in a clear plastic box about the size of a hockey puck and have a note that says, when you're losing your marbles about who to do business with, be flexible and give me a chance. Or this one's really cool. You can actually send a CD with the song Take a Chance on Me, included in a box with the lottery ticket. If you want to win big like the lottery, have to take a chance on this awesome opportunity. You could actually have the CD or maybe a flash drive with the song Take a Chance on Me on it, or even a YouTube video on the flash drive. And it could be a balloon that goes up, and a balloon that goes up, and a balloon that goes up, it comes out of a box, and it could be the song Take a Chance on Me, which is really kind of cool. So then there's also what we call a 4-week drip plan. With the 4-week drip plan, this is where it could be 4 weeks, or it could be every other day for a week, for 8 days. So you could do a sugar cube the first day, and you could say, keep it sweet. The second day, you could say, don't let it sour, and give a lemon. The third day, you could give a piece of tin foil and say, make it sparkle. And then the fourth day, actually put your business card in there and say, I'll be giving you a call later today to set an appointment. So all sorts of cool stuff you could do. And what we're asking you to do is take some time, brainstorm, and go, what could you do with your business? Now, at this time, what I want to do with all of you guys is I want you to think, man, what are some other ideas that I could do? And sometime after you watch this recording, take a piece of scratch paper and go, what are some things that I could do in my business? And I'm going to give you a few other ideas right now that are really, really cool. And these are ones that I've done over the years. And this first one is called the Who Moved My Cheese Technique. It's a book that became popular a few years ago. And it's about change. And if you're trying to work with a company or a person and you want them to change, you can buy a bunch of these. I heard about this technique from one of my students I was training at one of our events. And she explained to me that she was having a lot of success getting people to take and return her calls. She handed me a copy of Spencer Johnson's book, Who Moved My Cheese. She said her company would buy hundreds of these books from the publisher and send them to the prospects they most wanted to meet. She'd pen a note inside the book cover telling the prospects the book is about change and it only takes an hour to read it. She then would say, I'll call you next week to see what you think. She got hundreds of appointments using this technique. So what book could you use, or what article could you use to do a similar thing? Another one that's really cool is what's called the stalker technique. And this is definitely a fine line between being persistent and being a stalker. So if I keep getting someone's voicemail or I'm talking with them and they keep asking me to call back, I'll finally make a statement like this. I'd really like to have your business. I am the most persistent, not pushy salesperson you'll ever meet. But I don't want to wear you out, and I don't want to wear out my welcome. I'll leave that up to you. Would you like for me to keep calling you, or should I move on? Giving them an example of a personal client that took a long time before they personally work with you. And then this one I call the lotto technique. And the lotto technique is fun, and you can make it really funny. What I do is send the prospect 3 lottery tickets with a note that reads, with a little luck, maybe we can get together. However, if these are the winning numbers, please do not call me back and tell me you won. When you call back, you can always start the conversation with some humor. Good, I see you still have your day job. I was worried that you might have won the lotto since I never heard back from you. Or if you're a sports fan, I call this the baseball technique. This one works well for an elusive prospect that always seems to slip away without you being able to contact them. Especially works well if you know they're into sports. Send a pack of baseball cards or a single card and include a note that says, just wanted to touch base with you and see if you're still in the game. Would love to get a chance for a conference at the Mound or your office and share what has been happening in, whatever your company is. And then 5 here is the free ad campaign. If you or your company has a newsletter or blog, you can try this. If you keep getting your customers' voicemail, leave a message telling them that if they would agree to a 15 or 20-minute appointment with you, you'd like to give a free ad in your newsletter or your blog. Being willing to give away that costs you practically nothing. It's a great tool to get people to move to action. People love things that are free. The next one is what's called the unimportant technique. If I know that a person has a sense of humor, I love using this one. I'll leave a voicemail saying, it's extremely unimportant that you call me back. It adds some levity to the situation, lets them know that my feelings haven't been hurt. This also takes away some embarrassment they might have since they haven't called me back as they promised. They always smile at this. And a cool little bonus, if they pick up the message from their cell phone while they're out with a group of people at a meeting or lunch, the rest of the group is curious as to why they're laughing. 7 here is just so you know. And a gentleman was interviewing for a job at a coffee shop somewhere in the heart of Dallas, Texas. After about 30 minutes or so, he slid out of a booth and said, just so you know, I'm very interested in working with you and your company doing this job. Are you interested in me? Basically, he was closing the deal right there. The owner had a twinkle in his eye, smiled, nodded, and said, yes. 2 years later, the man asked the owner why he got the job, and the owner said, you were the only one that attempted to close me. I know you could sell at that moment, and that was what I was looking for. So that's kind of a cool one. A couple other ones I want to tell you guys about the skeleton one, and this is really cool. If someone hasn't returned your call, you can send them a skeleton like that you get like at the carnival supply store, or actually a picture of a skeleton, and you can send it out and say, this is me waiting for you to return my call. I'm dying over here. And then the last one is I've tried your product and I love your product. Now I'd love for you to try mine. And you could actually literally try their product if they have a product. So So besides all these cool creative lines, you can also use some creative messages that you're leaving. Like, you know, hi, my name is Gary. I'm with ABC Company. I work with such companies as blank, blank, and blank. My phone number is 408-888-4848. I had a couple of really quick questions. Click. And when you leave your number, they want to know why you're calling. So amazingly, they'll call you back just out of curiosity. And you can get fun like this one. Hi, my name is Gary. I'm not with the IRS. I'm not selling insurance. I'm not looking for a job. I don't want to borrow any money. But I want to talk to Mr. Smith. Could you please let him know that I've called? And a couple of really important questions. So it's just kind of fun. If somebody doesn't return your phone call, do a little research and find out who the person reports to. And then when you reach the gatekeeper, say, hey, I understand Joe reports to Mr. Smith. What's the best number to reach Mr. Smith? It subtly suggests that Joe doesn't return the call, you'll call the supervisor. I don't like that one too much. It's kind of sneaky. So it's like a last resort one because I'm very big on integrity. I've left several messages to someone who has a secretary, and that person has not returned my call. They call the secretary and ask for my contact. Before the secretary can say anything, I say in a low voice, and this is a really good one, is she or he still with the company? It's weird how often the person calls back. When they ask why I asked if they were still with the company, I say, since I didn't hear back from you, I wasn't sure if you were still with the company. If you've called several times and get no response, say something like this to the gatekeeper. I know I've called several times, and there's a fine line between persistent and being a pest. Hope I'm not making a pest of myself. Usually they say that you're not making a pest of yourself. I then say, great. I wouldn't be calling so much if it wasn't important. I'd really appreciate it if you put me through. Call the CEO's office and ask the secretary, who should I speak with regarding blank? When you call the CEO's office, they'll tell you who to talk to, and it's kind of like, it's called the top-down referral. And then when you get a referral from the CEO's office, you can say, yeah, it's Mr. Johnson's office said I should talk to you. That's very powerful. So as you go through all of these, when leaving an executive message, say something like this: I want to make you a hero, an even bigger hero than you really already are. When you return my call, I'll tell you about the idea. And so there's a ton of these in the packet here, and I want you guys to go through and pick the ones that work best for you. I don't want to read all of these word for word for you, but the key idea is to pick the best things that work for you and then execute them. Remember, it takes takes 21 plus or minus 2 days to form a habit. And our goal with you is to get some creative ideas, use some of these stress-free techniques, and go out and just be a stress-free, creative marketing person that goes out and just rocks it in your business. And remember, in a couple weeks, we're going to get back with you and do some review on this. Remember, once again, you can always reach out to me between calls, 408-888-4848. Love you guys. Keep rocking. Tell your friends about our Mastermind course. We're going to keep building this thing as it goes. Have a great, great October, and we'll talk to you soon.